Hey everyone, and welcome to Cocktails and Classics, where each episode we force our friend Cameron, who hasn't seen many classic films, to watch one. Before, those who have seen it will write down a rating based off their memory and nostalgia. During the movie, we'll be drinking cocktails inspired by it, and we'll give you the recipe so you can try it at home. Afterwards, we will dissect the movie, give our updated ratings, along with Cam's first impression. So I'm Dylan, and joining me today are Cameron.
Hey.
Ben.
Hello.
Carlos.
How's it going?
And Zach.
Hey, guys.
This week, we are watching The Matrix, a 1999 sci-fi action film from Lana and Lily Wachowski. They wrote and directed the film. Stars Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss. Cameron, have you seen... We obviously haven't seen it because that's what the podcast is about. But Cameron, what do you know about going into the movie?
This one is one of the more recent films we've watched, so I know a little bit about it. I feel like I might have actually been Neo when I was a kid for Halloween or something.
You had the black leather jacket
maybe.
Without seeing
well,
the movie?
no, not... Yeah, like, when you're young, you don't really see it because it's like an R-rated film, but... it's still like... I also had the video games. I had... there was a Matrix video game for Xbox that was really cool. It was awesome. So I remember that. As far as the actual movie itself, I don't know a ton. I know of some of the things, like Agent Smith, the pills, Morpheus being, himself. Badass character.
The bullet time?
Yeah, oh yeah, and like the, visual effects of like, someone going backwards and like dodging bullets in slow motion in 1999 visual effects glory.
So what do you expect from the movie going in?
I think we're going to see some very primetime Keanu Reeves action.
I think he's in his prime time right now.
You think so?
I think this is post-Speed Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Not the drug, but the movie.
Right.
Yeah, he never got over the drug.
I believe he's in his reconnaissance now.
Oh, I see. Like his second coming. Like where
Yes.
where he was really well known for something in particular, and now he's like even better, but more well known for like better roles.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Some people do love Bill and Ted Keanu.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a pretty interesting movie.
But I feel
one.
like now he is the people's champ currently, and at least of 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
He was the people's champ according to Reddit.
Fingers crossed nothing comes out about Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I hope nothing comes out about Keanu Reeves. Hopefully nothing sees the light of day.
Yeah, I hope it just remains deep in that closet if it exists.
Other than Keanu, any expectations?
No, I think we're going to see... The main thing is I think we're going to see some very quality 1999 visual effects. Hopefully not too bad, but I'm not holding my breath.
Is there a movie that you're comparing those visual effects of 1999?
Do you even have to ask? Do you even have to ask? Come on.
I almost won the bet.
I'm not... What? What was the bet? I want to know what the bet was.
What do you think it was?
Was I going to bring it up?
About a movie that came out in 1999 as well.
You know what?
Effects.
See, I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring it up. You baited me into it, and I didn't even take the bait.
You almost did. You were
I
like,
knew what you were going to say. I knew what you were...
For the viewers at home, Cameron loves The Phantom Menace. It's one of his favorite movies.
It's the worst Star Wars movie, period.
So to kick this thing off and get everybody in the right mood, I'm going to pass it over to Carlos, our makeshift bartender for this week's inspired cocktail.
On this week's episode for The Matrix, we are going to be making the red pill or blue pill Matrix shots. This recipe comes to us from Tipsy Bartender, so check out the recipe in the show notes below. For the red pill, you're going to need some peach schnapps, pineapple juice, and red cherry vodka. For the blue pill, you're going to need peach schnapps, pineapple juice, blue raspberry vodka, blue curacao, and Bacardi 151. So for both the red and blue pill recipes, the base mixture is going to come from this peach schnapps and pineapple juice. Strain that first into your double shot glasses. For the red pill, you are going to then float the red cherry vodka over the top of that peach schnapps and pineapple juice mixture in your double shot glass. For the blue pill float, you're going to first mix blue raspberry vodka, blue curacao, and Bacardi 151, stir those well, and then use that to then float over top of your blue pill. Take whichever one you like first and enjoy both.
I actually tried to make this drink. I made one of each version, the red and the blue. And I actually couldn't get the separation I saw in the pictures. The shot came out really nice and it tasted good with all the different tropical type flavors in it. But yeah, for some reason I just couldn't get it to come together without mixing. So essentially I got some bluish green shots and then a red shot, essentially. A reddish orange. So
Yeah, I gave up on trying to make this drink into shots. I decided to just pour it into one big glass with some ice cubes and topped it off with some sparkling water. And feeling a little buzzed. I'm going to make a second one of these, and then hopefully I can hang on for the ride.
If you make these Matrix shots, these red or blue pills, send us a picture on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod and use hashtag Cocktails and Classics. Or if Twitter is your thing, tweet us at Cocktails Class. We'd love to see your red and blue pills and hear your thoughts on how they turned out. If you haven't seen the movie The Matrix yet, sit back, sip on this week's double shots, the red pill and blue pill, and enjoy the show. There will be spoilers from here on out, so again, heads up. Otherwise, continue on for our post-movie discussion. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hope you grabbed your drink, whether that's a cocktail, coffee, or just some water. Stay hydrated out there. This week, we watched The Matrix. The Matrix came out in 1999, directed by Lana and Lily Wachowski. It's a movie about a computer hacker named Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, who learns from mysterious rebels about the true nature of his reality and his role in the war against its controllers. Currently at number 16 on IMDb's top 250, and when it came out, it won 4 Academy Awards for Best Film Editing, Best Sound, Best Effects, Visual and Sound Effects Editing. It's got the hardware, it's got the acclaim. Cameron, what did you think of The Matrix on your initial viewing?
I thought it was a good movie. I wasn't 100% sure what to expect. I kind of actually, as the movie was progressing, I knew, I don't want to say it was predictable, but it kind of, maybe through pop culture or other things, I kind of had a sense of where the movie was going most of the time. I even kind of knew what they were going to say before they said it, which in some cases, which maybe just suggests to how ingrained in pop culture this movie actually is. There's a lot of references to us being in the Matrix or whatever nowadays, and which is maybe to their credit just shows how they have similar to I guess the AI robots infiltrated our culture with it.
Permeated the culture and the meta.
Yeah, I don't know if this is from memory or from references that I've caught on to now more as an adult than as a kid, but I definitely agree where this movie at times you're like, oh, this is what's going to happen next. And it's 100% what happens next. There are definitely quite a few moments in this. And I think it's interesting to me is that we've talked during some of the other movies we've watched about the references to pop culture that have come up throughout the years. And while this movie is, I don't want to say it's new. It's, it's still 21 years old. I don't know what month in that it came out.
It is 21 years old.
Is it 21? So, 21 years old, but the fact that it's so ingrained in pop culture that it has as many references that we're aware of as some of the other movies that have been around for maybe twice as long or, at least maybe has a decade on this movie, it's pretty impressive. The kind of shockwave this movie sent through our culture that resonates now 21 years later.
I was just gonna say, this movie defined the sci-fi action crossover genre. It's I can't quite call it sci-fi or action, but it's like the perfect representation of if those two got together and just had like a beautiful love child.
Mid to late 90s was kind of when those like film school video store kids started to make movies, like David Fincher, Quentin Tarantino, the Wachowskis, and the movies are just basically a new thing built off of a shit ton of old meta and references from other films, like really obscure movies. And this is what you get. You get Reservoir Dogs or Kill Bill or The Matrix.
Well, I think you can say that it was, some of the more niche type references and stuff like that. But I mean, literally during the fight between Morpheus and Neo, when they're doing the training scenario, well, when Neo does the stance and he kind of wipes his nose, that is straight out of a Bruce Lee movie. Bruce Lee that was one of his like famous things to do, is to kind of do the nose wipe and then get back into his stance. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. This movie definitely feels like it was made by someone who spent their formative years going to a store and renting the movies from overseas that were the kung fu flicks, and I think a lot of times they're referred to as like the chopsaki films from back in the day. I mean, between those and yeah, it definitely does feel that way, like that, the spaghetti westerns and stuff like that people would have loved when they were younger, and they kind of get to take that and turn it into more of a cinematic story than what those movies were, which was just, basically a film to watch to see someone get in a gunfight or to see someone get in a kung fu fight.
Cameron, are there any memes or pop culture references that you now know the origins of?
Yeah, I mean, pick your poison, right? Like, there's the like classic "What if I told you" meme that's been around for like almost as long as I remember memes. There's also the red and the blue pill stuff, which is a huge pop culture reference. There's the Mr. Anderson type quote that one of the agents says, which is thing. So yeah, no, there's a lot in this movie.
Was there anything that did or did not surprise you, Cameron?
I forgot about or not forgot, but I didn't know about the traitor part, which was interesting. I didn't realize that one of them like basically portrayed the rest of them because he wanted to live back in the Matrix. I thought that was really interesting. That part surprised me. But one thing that surprised me was I was expecting the CGI to be terrible, but it was actually a little bit better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it won an Academy Award.
In 1999 or 2000 or whatever. Like, whatever. But like it was just better than I thought. Like I thought it was going to be terrible, and it wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be.
I thought the same thing. Going in, I was kind of like, my expectations were pretty low. I was like, this CGI will have dated, as I remember, and some of it actually stands up. Some of it's a little bit more rough than others. Like for me, it was like the Sentinels when they attack the ship and stuff, or when
that looked.
It's not
rough.
even when they're in or when they attack the ship. It's more so when they're like outside of the ship and it's all computer world. That's when it was kind of like, not.
Yeah, one thing about the early CGI is that you can tell is the lack of detail. So like you'll look, and this is similar in other movies. But yeah, like you look at like the not just like the focus of the shot, but the surrounding bits, and it's just very devoid of detail. And that's something you just don't like. The technology has evolved so much since when that was prevalent, that time period, that you see more detail even in the computer generated worlds now than you did back then.
To go off of that, a lot of the big thing on that is the fact that so much rendering has come so far. The ability to do the lighting and the shading and everything like that can be done and simulated through a computer real time versus back then could not. So a lot of those times it's why when you see them, they don't look like it looks like someone sometimes kind of dragged and dropped them in without them matching the lighting and everything like that, is because, I mean, even between now and 3 years ago, they've come so far in how they can do real time. I'm trying to think, like between the rendering, the Nvidia, all of the different softwares that have come out to help create that realism in the software. The one I think that stood out to me a lot was when Agent Smith kind of explodes after Neo enters into him. Like that one looks.
That was bad.
That one looks like, that one looks.
That was probably the worst CGI gimmick of the entire show.
Yeah, that one's pretty rough. When you just, especially when the creeks start. But I mean, yeah, I think some of them, some of the CGI graphics, literally, the reason they're dated is obviously technological, but I think that the ideas behind them hold up really well, which is why they don't seem super dated. Like they don't seem like they were used extraneously or for a reason that doesn't make sense, which is why when you watch, you're like, oh, okay. That's I think one of the reasons why they don't look nearly as bad as some of the other ones that you see that don't age really well between when the movie was made and now.
Yeah, I can't hate on the visual effects. They did all that on Windows 98, so like props to them. Whatever they were able to do, and it still looks good today. Like,
yeah.
Do you want to guess what movie The Matrix shockingly beat out for the 1999 Academy Award for Best Visual Effects?
Why do you have to bait me with this? I know it's going to be Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Am I right?
It's true.
Am I right?
We'll get you a point heading into the quiz. You can have a prequel.
I don't know why why do you have to bait me, all right? I like the Star Wars movies, all right? We know that.
I'm a really good baiter.
If you bring it up, I'm going to talk about it.
Some would call you a masturbator, Zach.
Like the best at it.
If you bring it up, it's going to be talked about, okay?
Was there a most memorable or best scene for you guys?
I think when Neo's up on the rooftop with Agent Smith, and he does like the classic Matrix dodging the bullets.
Bullet time.
Yeah, like freezing that. Even the CGI, like even rendering for the vapor trails behind the bullets looked really cool. But they did the whole like 360 spin type thing around Keanu Reeves while he's doing that. It just looks so cool.
Yeah, my favorite is when Morpheus is explaining to Neo for the first time, right after the red pill, blue pill situation, is explaining like what the Matrix is and going into the backstory of how everything got to be the way it is. The man created machine took over man, and then they zoom into this field of just babies being grown and like robots just plucking them up.
Yeah, I totally missed that part of the movie when I was a kid, apparently.
It's not the worst scene for you to miss as a child. You know, if you watched this around the time it came out, you could have skipped it. Your parents just filled you in after.
Yeah, I was like watching it this time, and I'm like, wait, humans were used as batteries? Oh God, like that's kind of morbid.
Yeah, I knew that was a theme of the movie, but then the way that they showed it in the movie of just like, the babies being put into like pods and shit, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, there's a great term that I don't think it's used in this movie. Maybe it is, and I missed it, but it's definitely used in the later movies as copper top. It's somebody who like was plugged in and they pulled them out, and it's a reference to like a Duracell battery. The top of it is copper.
Right. Yeah.
I think they do use that phrase in this film.
Morpheus say it because he has that scene where he holds up like a Duracell battery.
He holds up the Duracell battery, yeah.
For me, one scene that, like, as soon as it happened again, I was like, yes, is in the lobby. I mean, maybe it's just like my 90s, like, edgy teen coming out is like when he, like, they walk through the metal detector and he flips open his jacket and he's got all the
like,
guns.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and just like it becomes like the big shootout in the lobby, and he's like hiding behind the pillars. All the tile is just getting blasted out of the way. Like that is, to me, a very iconic scene from this film as well.
I thought the funny part about that scene was like when he pulled open his jacket and he just had all the guns, and the security guard was like, "Holy shit!" It's kind of like brings you out of the moment for like a split second. Is like this guy, like it's like, oh, just a cop doing his job, like security or whatever, and he's like, "Oh my god, you have so many guns! Like I don't even know what to do with this information," and he just dies instantly. So
one of the things is saw that was interesting about that scene was that kind of after all the dust clears and you see them kind of walk out, you see the chunk of the pillar just kind of fall over.
Yeah.
That is unintentional. That
Oh,
just,
really?
That just
Oh, really?
happened while they were filming, and it seemed so appropriate that they left it in the movie.
It's almost like comedic relief. Like they get in the elevator, it's all quiet, and then boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was really well done, and that was just something that happened while they were filming. A piece of that pillar fell down, and they kept it in because they thought it felt very apropos for what was happening during the scene.
Is there a memorable line or most quotable line from the film?
You were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring balance to the Matrix, not destroy it.
Oh, I really like the spoon bending when Neo goes to visit the Oracle and he's chatting with the little girl and she says, you have to realize that there is no spoon. Don't try to bend the spoon. There is no spoon. And when Neo does it, and it's kind of like the switch gets flipped, he understands that he's starting to understand, like, what is this Matrix and how do I fit in with it?
There were a couple that I had that were memorable. One I thought was interesting where Neo visits the Oracle, and the Oracle says, "Don't worry about the vase." And he's like, "What vase?" And he turns around and he like breaks it. And she's like, "Now you're going to be wondering later if I hadn't said anything, if you would have still broken the vase." And then the other one where it was actually a line I don't know if I've seen it or like predicted it or something, but basically like Neo's like, "I'm not the one." Like she told me I'm not the one. And Morpheus goes, "She told you exactly what you needed to hear at the time," basically, which I thought was interesting. Like she didn't tell you the truth, essentially. She just told you what you needed to hear so you would essentially become the one rather than like telling you, "Yeah, you're the one. Just go do whatever. You'll be cool."
I think in terms of most quotable line, it always draws me to the "you can take the red pill or the blue pill." Or I think another one that is, I mean, I very much doubt it comes from this movie, but when he is, "I can lead you to the door, but you are the one who has to walk in," is another one that, so many times have I heard that, whether it be directed at someone in a class at school where they're like, I can give you the information, I can take you to the door, but you're the one who has to walk through it.
How about when Mouse leans over to Neo when they're eating food and it just starts talking about, "You want to bang my red?"
That was
red
so
dress girl."
weird. It's like, "Hey, do you like that thing? I made it. Also, I made the girl in red. Do you want to have some like private time with the girl in red? Because you could. I can make that happen for you. I've done it numerous times."
Do you like my digital sex toy? Because I could let you, maybe spend some time with it if you'd like. Totally up to you, though. Totally up to you. I mean, you are the one.
Yeah,
so
I'm not
it's
trying to
your
pressure
call,
you into anything
whatever.
here.
But wink, wink.
But if you do that, I'm totally gonna watch.
Let me know. I like how then Switch then looks at him and goes, "Digital pimp." He just straight up calls him out.
Was there a holy shit moment for you guys?
Probably that explosion with Agent Smith.
Oh, yes, the explosion.
Yeah, that was a. He's talking about the final one.
I mean, for some reason, when Neo just like hops up inside him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm ahead. All right, I'm ahead out," and then just detonates the dude.
Yeah, when Neo comes inside Agent Smith and explodes.
When he
I
enters
don't think you're allowed
him. When
to
he
say that on
enters
this
him.
podcast.
And then forces his way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he stops the bullets, I mean, the thing is like stopping the bullets is such like a iconic scene and that we're all familiar with, and just like, but at the time, I would imagine that would just be a mind-blowing scene of like, oh, they're taught to basically run from these agents, and they don't really stand a chance. And before he like dodged the bullets, and earlier Morpheus said that when the time came, you wouldn't need to dodge them, basically. And at the end of the movie, he just stopped them. And the AI, even, who supposedly is able to calculate everything and knows everything, and is able to stop, these, or, try and stop these things, didn't really know what to do there.
There is so much slow-mo bullet dropping in this film. Like, talking about bullets. there's like scenes where when they're in the helicopter, oh, we got to get up under the bullets dropping. Oh, they've got to be hitting the floor of the freaking helicopter. Oh, they're hitting the floor of this. It's a little too much slow-mo at certain points for me.
Yeah,
It's very 90s.
I would have liked the helicopter shot, I think, more had you actually, like, when they did the upshot towards the helicopter and you're seeing the bullet, the casings, you're seeing the casings right down kind of on the camera. But if you look at the propeller, like it's spinning super slow. I think had they just done that with the propeller spinning like a regular, something where it actually doesn't look like it's slow motion, maybe in the background, but the foreground where the bullets are actually, or the casings are raining down is slow motion, I think could have made that shot even better than it was. But I do agree. Sometimes the amount of slow-mo bullet casings falling to the ground is like, okay, we could shorten this movie from like 2.5 hours to like 2 hours if we just maybe cut out a couple of these slow-mo bullet scenes.
Yeah. Somehow Morpheus doesn't get hit when Neo is just like
Because he's the one.
blazing and praising.
Apparently, that's what I was told as I said that exact same thing when we were watching it. Like, how is he not murdering Morpheus right now with this minigun that he somehow has 100% control over?
I believe I was the one that told you he was the chosen one.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, he's just firing this minigun into, hey, that's some nice quality cat anus.
Oh my lord, we found our promo clip, boys. First we were dumping loads. We had the whip. Now we have cat anus.
Dylan's cat just walks across his camera.
That's fantastic.
Full spread eagle. Right in front of us.
Any suitors?
She's trying to get on that. She thinks this is Dylan's OnlyFans account. She doesn't understand he's recording his podcast right now.
No, this is Luna's OnlyFans account.
No, that's her Instagram at Looney Love Good Cat.
Oh no! If she's not a sponsor, she's not making it in. We reserve these
Right.
spots for high quality, high paying sponsors like
High-profile bidders.
Audible
And Anchor.
A little bit of a tradition around here is Zach will take over and gives us a quiz. So, Zach, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. So after last week, Ben came away with the win. Let's see if he can go for 2. We'll get right into it. We got 3 questions for you. The first one is, during the interrogation scene of the 1999 Matrix movie that we just watched, we get a glimpse at Neo's passport. So true or false, the expiration date on Neo's passport is September 11th, 2001.
Fucking kidding me? No way.
That would be a mighty high coincidence.
That'd be a huge coincidence. I can't even imagine you making that shit up, though.
You can't?
No, I mean, like, I guess, but it seems like such a weird... I didn't even notice that there was a passport in there. And it's such a weird thing that you would have... I don't know. But I feel like I would have heard that at some point. Like, I would have seen that on, like...
As like a weird trivia thing somewhere.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna...
Like on a quiz on a podcast called Cocktails and Classics.
All right, I'm gonna submit my answer. I'm gonna go ahead and say true, just because I feel like this is such a weird fact that I don't know how the hell you'd just make this shit up on the fly. So I'm gonna say true.
I'm going to say false, just because I feel like it would have been the meme of all memes. Like, looking back on it, there's no way. I'm going to say false.
How old is Neo in the film?
Old enough to party.
My name's Neo, and I like to party.
Okay, Neo, I know for a fact you do not party.
My name's Trinity, and I like to party.
I think I'm going to say false, because I think that's something you would hear about.
Boo!
And that's it. I don't know. You have to really pay attention, because I did not know there was a passport in there at all.
I'm gonna go true on this one. I feel like it's something that is kind of pretty obscure, and I feel like it's something that, because it's so obscure, it's not really talked about a lot, because it is one of those things that if you blink, you might miss it. But I definitely feel like it's something that could be done that people would point to and be like, "Oh my god, did you guys notice Neo's passport expires on September 11th, 2001?" And one of those kind of weird conspiracy theory websites, which is why this kind of spawned a thing, an uproar.
Yeah, this may be a odd coincidence. It might be signs that we all live in the Matrix, but if you do freeze the frame and take a look at Neo's passport, it does expire on September 11th, 2001. So Ben and Cam each get a point. Okay, question number 2. In a close-up shot of the Nebuchadnezzar, we see a few neat details, such as that it was made in the United States, a couple other things, but what year was it made? It's listed on the plaque. Is it A, 2001, B, 2069, or C, 2077?
I know the answer because I actually saw the plaque and I actually noticed the year, so I'm gonna go last.
I'm going to say B, 2069.
I'll say B, 2069.
I'm actually going to go C with 2077. I think it's going to be as late as possible because they say that the thing is pretty close to what they believe the year to be, 2199. So for it to even be anything early seems kind of weird to me. So I'm going to go as late as possible.
The answer is B, 2069.
That is correct. It is 2069. Last question. Score recap. Cameron is in the lead with 2 points. You guys can't let Cameron win. This podcast is about him not knowing these movies. The phone in the envelope that Neo receives from Morpheus is a Nokia 8110, aka the Nokia banana phone. True or false? It was the first commercial phone to have SMS functionality.
I thought you were going to ask what the brand of the phone was. Like, it's Nokia. I know that one too. And nope, it's a worse question. Well, harder question.
I'm going to say false. I don't know why.
I'll say false.
So wait, what do we have in here? Dylan said false. Did anyone else say anything? Ben?
I want you to go first. No, I want you to go first.
No, I want you to go first.
You're in the lead, so you go first.
I'm going to go true, just because if I go true, then if you go false, then we're all tied, baby.
If I go true, then you win. I got to go false then, I guess.
Or you could
And hope
or
it's
you
not-
could say true.
I don't know. I feel like SMS was something that came around a bit later than 1999. I'm going to say false.
Bad news bears. The Nokia 8110 was the first phone to have SMS functionality. Not widely used, but it was the first phone to have texting, as we refer to it today.
Zach, do you know when the first dick pic was sent on your
Wow.
Let's see.
No, but I know when the last one was. Check your phone, baby.
Oh, my. So that's Cameron with 3 points. Cameron takes the win. Cameron's got 3 of these under his belt now.
Woo!
I took the liberty of scouring Internet Movie Database for some negative reviews of The Matrix, just to put you guys in the right mindset for our post-review session. So the first one is from Harry7619, written in April 1999. He said it's a mindless mess, 1 out of 10. The Matrix is utter nonsense and total stupidity. An incredible hodgepodge of all the mindless Spielberg-Lucas epics, James Bond gadgetries, Kubrick effects, plus about 75 years of cheapy to high-budgeted action sci-fi thriller flicks distilled into one vat. Throw in the latest computer-style technological inventions for good measure, and finally add a pinch of philosophical jargon just to give it an illusion of substance. Stir well, and there it is. A product that can be well labeled, warning, enter this movie at your own mental health risk.
What did he think was... I'd be curious to know, 21 years later, what he thought that, like, the references from, like, Lucas or even Kubrick or any of those people were. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what he thought about that. Like, what exact scenes he could point to for that. Like, maybe he was just going off of things he thought were overhyped at the time. I'm not sure. That's...
This review is tough to tear apart because it comes, like, the fact that it's from April of 99 which is damn near. So it was. This dude probably saw this movie in theaters and then wrote a review about it. So it's hard for me to sit here 21 years later and be like, no, man, you don't know what this movie means and all the stuff that it spawned out. But
Well, that's what's so astonishing is this guy was like, yeah, the computer graphics were shit. It's like that was like
cutting edge.
Right, that was cutting edge technology at the time, and he's like, nah, it's fucking shit, bro.
He didn't say that. He said throw in the latest computer style technology inventions for good measure. He wasn't like, it sucks. He was just.
I don't know.
I don't see how this movie is bad for your mental health. Like, this is a movie I feel like if I want to kind of, because I've already seen it, this is a movie that I watch to see the action sequences and be like, oh my god, the action in this is so cool. This isn't a movie I sit here and be like, I don't sit here and watch it for the philosophical questions it proposes to me. And maybe that's just me, but I also don't sit and go like, oh man, this is so heavily influenced by Stanley Kubrick and Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, and then they just took all of their ideas and threw in some special effects. Like, what the fuck movie are you watching that you're gonna sit here and be like, well, this is basically just a ripoff of what Spielberg and Lucas did? What?
I want to know what this guy's opinion was after if he saw Phantom Menace in theater.
The best special effects. They got totally shafted at the Academy Awards. They should have won for best visual effects, not this piece of shit, The Matrix.
Well, it's funny, yeah, because it's just like, oh yeah, like whatever George Lucas and Spielberg were doing, yeah, that's what they tried to do, and fucking, it sucked. And then I wonder if he saw Phantom Menace and was like, this is cinema.
He probably watched Underworld and was like, this is it.
This is
This is the movie.
film.
Yeah, and probably told his bud to comment about it too. I can understand his confusion for the first maybe half hour of the movie because I'm really out in left field for the first 30 minutes of the film, and I can just imagine someone in the theater in 1999 just kind of not knowing what the hell is going on at all. It's pretty out there for a sci-fi film. Like at least by that time, Star Wars had some sort of like cohesion in the first 30 minutes. But man. Once it picks up, it's fine. But
Well, I'm glad you brought up Underworld because our good friend Underworld Rocks, good friend of the show, did not leave a review though. But
wow.
He did give it a 10 out of 10 on IMDb.
Oh
Right.
my god.
Underworld 7 approved or whatever his name is.
Underworld Rocks
Underworld
approved.
Rocks,
The
yeah.
Matrix. So, from October 2007, also a 1 out of 10. Coglione 29 says terrible, rubbish, shocking, awful, dreadful, the pits, diabolical.
The Pits.
Quite simply, The Matrix is an overblown pile of tosh, engaging tripe at the best of times, depressing nonsense at worst. Keanu is outrageously bad as Neo. Lawrence should have skipped those 5 burgers Fishburne, gives a career worst performance. As for the effects, dreadful. Already look badly dated. The story is a tired mishmash of incomprehensible crud. I went to the cinema with a few pals. We got separated. They saw it in another screen approximately 30 minutes after me. When they came out, they were raving about how good it is. I have since disowned them. Anybody who says they like this film should be erased from your life. Utter garbage personified.
I want to have some fish and chips with this guy and get down to the bottom of this.
Absolute
This guy-
tosh.
This guy definitely would be a fish and chips guy. I'm glad
Yeah,
you drifted into the British accent because that's exactly what I was hearing the whole time.
He's either British or really wants to be, like, so badly.
This is the type of guy whose glasses don't fit right, and he's constantly like pushing them up his nose.
He's posh as fuck. Disowned his friends because
Yeah,
they
that's
liked
interesting.
something that he
I
didn't.
gotta imagine that's for dramatic effect, right? Like nobody in real life actually disowns friends over like liking a movie. Maybe
I don't know if you're like 1, 3, or 4 away on a movie review from this podcast ending. So
If one of us hate a movie you love, like if one of
Yeah,
us
I'll
gave
just
The
drop
Shining
off.
like a 3 out of 10, you'd be like, all right, see you later.
Yeah, so if the quiz stops, you know what happened.
All right, guys, we're done. This was fun while it lasted. Wow. Okay, I will say, I do, after watching the movie, I do think, I'm just gonna say it. I don't think Keanu Reeves was a good actor in this one. I don't think it was that good of a performance.
I don't know if anyone's ever said Keanu is a good actor.
No, I mean, like, I think nowadays he plays I'm not saying he's a great actor per se, but, like, I think he's come into his own in, like, action roles. Like, when he plays John Wick, I think he does a good job.
He's found his niche as John Wick.
right. But, like,
Yeah.
Neo is basically John Wick, but in the Matrix in a sci-fi role, right? Like, he's this badass dude who, like, can fight and, like, can't be killed. And, yeah, I don't think he did that well. Like, it wasn't,
All
like,
right.
terrible, but it definitely wasn't inspiring. I thought Lawrence Fishburne was great, as he normally is, but, you know.
I've been
I think
avoiding
what
this
was-
for a while, but you said it and I have to address it. My favorite fan theory about The Matrix is that The Matrix and John Wick are actually the same set of movies. It's just a different reset of The Matrix where Neo is John Wick and doesn't understand that he's in The Matrix again. And the Matrix 4 is going to connect the two storylines finally.
my
It makes sense
God.
because do you know who's in the John Wick movies? Lawrence Fishburne.
Wait,
Yeah,
That's true,
yeah,
he
in,
is,
in,
yeah.
number
That's
two.
true.
He even gives them the line.
And what happens?
He's in 3 as well for a minute.
Does
in the
John Wick
beginning of
ever
it.
get shot? Okay, a couple
He's- no,
times.
he's
But
gotten
does
shot.
does he heal perfectly like a goddamn video game character?
No.
Yes,
He can still move like
100%.
one. That's for sure. I mean, he even throws in
Also-
the line. What was it? It's like, I need guns, lots of guns. They even.
That's
carry
true,
some
he does say
throw
that.
in there.
In John Wick, yeah.
Do you know what there's zero of in the Matrix movies? Dogs.
That's true, there are no dogs.
Think about that. That is something I'll say about this movie, though, is as confusing as it is when you're watching it. There's some movies that you can look at and like start to poke holes in. This movie is so hard to poke plot holes in because so much of it can be explained away by them being in the Matrix. And the explanations just get harder to disprove once you get through Revelations and like you've seen them all. Every single thing that happens, you can go, oh, they're in the Matrix, or oh, it's Neo, or oh, it's Morpheus, or it's something. Like it's hard to say, well, that's just confusing for no reason.
the last review I have is a 3 out of 10,
Oh.
titled Overrated, from J Pintar 16 from May 2003. So this is 4 years after the movie came out. This has to be the most overrated movie in sci-fi history. It is way too long and the acting is stiff, especially Keanu, get me a new facial expression, Reeves.
Oh, sick
Who
burn.
cares about the special effects when the story is incoherent and uninteresting? I certainly don't. It disturbs me that many people consider this not only a great movie, but a classic. Hey, they know what this podcast is about.
That's the thing. They said the thing.
Did these people see the same movie I did? I saw a dumb action movie with delusions and grandeur. I say, watch Star Wars again and see what real storytelling is all about.
Yeah, tell them.
The Phantom Menace is a perfect piece of
Wait, go
movie
back.
cinema.
2003, it's probably like Attack of the Clones. Maybe they skipped Phantom Menace and they were like, yes, Attack of the Clones.
I mean,
That's where
okay,
it's
to their
at.
credit, George Lucas was pretty good at like storytelling and world building, not great at dialogue. Like,
Okay,
You want to buy some death sticks?
to say this, there is a giant theory too that George Lucas took a lot of what he built Star Wars off of as what Jack Kirby did with his Fourth World series for DC Comics. So is he that great, or is he that great at seeing stuff that he liked in comic books and taking it and writing it into a movie?
I don't know.
They said the same thing about Indiana Jones. He adapted Indiana Jones and all that from the old adventure novels.
Look, everybody
Adventure
adapts
comics.
everything from everything. Nothing's original anymore. Art is a lie, and nothing is real. So
And Star Wars is
jot
great,
that
so
down.
shut up.
Stick it up your pooper.
I will say there are times where Keanu does seem kind of stiff in this movie.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know that the other person considered, like, the person who was originally offered the role of Neo was Will Smith,
Oh, there's so many people that were offered the role of Neo.
but
Like, name an A-lister they were offered.
Will Smith being the one that was like the original, like, we want you for the role.
Why didn't he take it?
And
Yeah.
because, get this, at the time he had signed on to make the movie Wild Wild West.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Cameron.
Oh no.
Cameron, do you know who else was offered the role of Neo but turned it down because they were committed to a different movie?
Let me think.
Liam Neeson.
I was gonna guess either Liam Neeson or Ewan McGregor. Yeah, there it is.
Ewan
Ewan
McGregor.
Yeah.
I
DiCaprio.
feel like part of
yeah,
the
there were
stiff,
tons of
the
people that
stiff
were offered.
acting can kind of be forgiven because he's an actor who freaking hides out in his house all the time. Like he's just an awkward
Yeah, that's a
dude
good
to begin with. I
point.
feel like.
He's like a giant
Yeah, he's a
computer
loser.
nerd who just sits and does nothing other than sit on his computer and go to work.
He's basically me.
Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. How it works is every month members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection. Audible has a free, easy-to-use app that allows you to download titles and listen offline at your convenience. Dylan and Ben, what are your experiences with Audible?
So I used the Audible free trial a couple years ago, and I've gone back to it since. I listened to Pet Sematary by Stephen King, and I really like it when I'm driving on like long road trips.
I used it to listen to one of James Ellroy's LA quartet novels, The Big Nowhere. I would definitely recommend it to anyone on the go, whether it's just driving to work or for long flights. It's great. You can, listen to something on your phone, connect it to Bluetooth. You get to work, log into your work computer, and listen up.
To start your free 30-day trial, go to audibletrial.com/cocktailsandclassics, all lowercase. Again, that's audibletrial.com/cocktailsandclassics. After your free trial is up, it'll cost $14.95 per month. However, there are no commitments, and if you can't decide what to listen to at that particular month, that's okay. You can always roll your credits over for up to a year.
Before the movie, those of us who have seen it wrote down our ratings based off nostalgia and memory. And now, I want to know if your rating has changed or not.
I'll go ahead and kick it off. Before watching the movie, I gave it a 9, but I honestly think I was reviewing the entire Matrix trilogy at once. If I had to just, after rewatching it, after just looking at this first movie, just The Matrix, I would give it a 7. I think the Matrix trilogy as a whole is really good, and you should really see the whole thing. And at the end of the Matrix, they don't tie things up in a bow. It's obvious there's going to be a sequel. But yeah, I can't complain about Neo's acting too much. He was kind of playing like a loser computer hacker, but there's not a ton of room for him to go. But yeah, it did seem dry at some point. So it's not amazing. It's not the best thing, but it is really good. You should definitely see it. So I think a 7's fair.
Going into the movie, from what I remembered as a kid, I had given this movie an 8 out of 10. I remember a lot of the action sequences and the fight scenes and everything like that being really cool and amazing to see as a kid. Watching it now, I actually bumped that down to a 6. The special effects, and again, it's through no fault of their own, but I don't think they hold up as well. I've seen movies that have come out earlier in the 90s whose special effects seem to be kind of just as good. The action scenes really do kind of keep the movie a higher rating for me, but sometimes the acting does seem a little stiff, and I get Keanu Reeves' character is supposed to be awkward, but I do agree with some of the criticism that at times he only really has like one real facial expression or one real emotion. Yeah, I just think overall it's not as great of a movie as I remember it being. if I'm looking at it through the same, critical lens I've looked at some of the other movies, I will say this is still a movie that is great to just turn on and I might just veg out and not pay attention to the story again, but just to watch for the action scenes, the way the Wachowskis, the way they film it, the way they direct everything, the people they brought in to choreograph the fight sequences, the people they have filming everything does a great job. But I think some of the pieces of the film between that don't hold up as well for me. So I think I would drop it down just a tad.
I'm going to piggyback off of that. My score going in was also, it was mid-range. I gave it a 7, but my poor memory of this movie, it goes as far as to even thinking that one of the endings from The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, I actually got the endings mixed up and actually thought I was actually kind of meshing the movies together, which was my mistake, thinking that some of the parts from the other movies were going to be in the first one, but it's only because I haven't seen them in so long. So I gave it a 7. I do appreciate the action sequences and whatnot, but for me, at some points, like, it just felt like it kind of dragged. Like, despite a lot of the cinematography and like the special effects and whatnot, like I said, I still appreciate the action. I still appreciate probably what followed in the next movies. But I just, after the movie, I'm just gonna leave it at a 7, just because it's entertaining, but not so much in the sense to where I would completely like berate the film, but didn't have me hooked for the full 2 hours and 16 minutes.
For my before rating, I kind of went off of what I had on IMDb because it's been a long time since I watched this movie. It's been 10 plus years. And so I'm going off of my childhood memories. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And I will probably berate this movie right now. It is a 90s time capsule. The fluorescent lighting, the freaking CGI is a little dated. The soundtrack, like the electro prodigy, like Chemical Brothers shit, is just like, it's a little bit much. It has that like quick editing of the 90s. If you've seen like The Beach or like any like semi-actiony movie from the 90s, gratuitous amount of slow-mo that just doesn't really need to happen. I do love some of the fight scenes and the action. That really just is the iconic moments that like stuck with me. The plot is a little like, I'm smarter than you. They don't want to wake up. These sheeple don't want to wake up from the Matrix, man. Like, they're just walking past you, and then the lady in the red dress comes. But when I see it on the IMDb top 250 list as number 16, I just don't see it there. Like, it has an 8.6. I don't see it being greater than Goodfellas or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or like The Shining. I give it, I don't know, I'd have to give it like a 7 out of 10. 6.5?
For my rating, I should preface this with saying I told my wife we're going to watch The Matrix, and she said, oh, that movie sucks. Like, she thinks the movie's terrible. I'd be interested to actually, if she wrote out a review of it based on what she remembers, that would be interesting. But yeah, I agree with what Dylan said. It's very dated in terms of a very 90s time capsule, like with the soundtrack and the film editing and the lighting and all that stuff. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's that good. I definitely don't think it's number 16 good. I would also have to give it, I'd say about a 7. I will say, even though I don't remember exactly what I gave Indiana Jones, I will say I think I enjoyed this movie a little bit more than that one. Just because I think the plot was more interesting than that movie. Even though it was, like you said, at times like very, I don't know, kind of up its own ass, if that makes sense. Like, it's like, oh my God, this is like, you can kind of tell that when they wrote the script, they're like, we're going to fucking blow these people's minds with our thing. And the most annoying part is they didn't, or maybe they did, but they didn't. It didn't seem like they foresaw all the edgelords using this movie to justify their shitty conspiracy theories later in the future. We're all in the Matrix, man. Wake up! It's everybody's lying to you, and it's like, come
We
on,
might be.
like, shut the fuck up. Shut
Got
up.
a movie with the glitch in the Matrix was the black cat walking across, and what happens while we're recording this podcast? Dylan's cat walks across in front of the camera.
Oh my god, we're in the Matrix.
Shit.
No, it's just so I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It was okay. It was an entertaining movie. The plot was interesting. There were some weird parts. One pet peeve is when they shoehorn like romantic encounters in there. Like I have no idea when in that entire encounter like Trinity would have fallen in love with Neo. Like it didn't make any sense to the plot whatsoever. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I love you. And it's like, where did that come from though? I don't know. Just the unneeded romantic aspects of movies is a pet peeve.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe and tell 2 friends. That really helps us out. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod, or if you're into Twitter, reach us at Cocktails Class. Post, send, and tag us in your drink photos or your movie recommendations and use the hashtag Cocktails and Classics. Speaking of our Instagram, we had 2 mentions on Instagram from Hannah Perez. The pod inspired me to watch the movie and it was so good. Talking about 12 Angry Men. And also, James Leonard said, I'm nominating the original Ben-Hur. Definitely a classic worth watching. So James, Ben-Hur has been added to the list. Thanks everyone for listening. And until next time, watch responsibly.